Buckle up tonight. Big breaking news, multiple fronts, including more embarrassing gaffes. I mean, really bad ones. It seems sleepy, creepy, crazy Uncle Joe didn't even know what state he was in. And it gets worse. And his feckless 2020 campaign is hanging in the balance. He is now in third place in a major poll. Also, a major update from the president's ongoing trade negotiations with China. The president's winning. That's a start. We'll tell you more about that. But we began a shocking new development out of the deep state. We can confirm tonight the DOJ Inspector General's investigation into FISA abuse, that's the Michael Horowitz report, has now been completed. And according to the Hill's John Solomon, the IG's findings could be released as early as the next couple of weeks. It's now being processed for potential redactions. Lindsey Graham says he expects the findings to be, quote, damning and ugly, and he will want all of it released, and he will give the Inspector General as much time as he needs to tell the entire story of this abuse of power and corruption. Now, of course, one of the key targets of the investigation is likely Mr. Super Patriot himself, Jim Comey. Now, as we all know by now, it was Comey who signed off on the very first FISA application against Donald Trump and his campaign associate Carter Page. And we also now know he signed two other FISA applications, all based, the bulk of information, the bought and paid for phony Russian dossier, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton. He swore 3 times that the evidence in those applications were true, accurate, and verified. In reality, in truth, none of it was any of the above. None of it was true. None of it was verified. And Comey was lying. Now, his first FISA request relied on Hillary's bought and paid for dirty dossier, Russian dossier. That wasn't true. Neither was the second or third warrant. It was all based on the phony dossier. None of it accurate. None of it verifiable. It was all unverifiable garbage. Comey knew the intel was BS. He was warned specifically on multiple occasions by multiple people and multiple sources. No serious attempt was ever made to verify the dossier's claims that he signed off on 3 times. Comey used it in a way in order to secure a backdoor into all things Trump campaign, then transition, and then the Trump presidency. So it's clear Jim Comey committed premeditated fraud in a FISA court in order to spy on a presidential campaign, transition, and presidency. Now, meanwhile, Comey's right-hand man, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, he was fired from the FBI last year for lying and leaking. But guess what? McCabe, he'll fit right in. He was just hired by fake news CNN. They claim to be the facts-first network. They can't break 1 million viewers in a single hour. That is a disaster for any network. And breaking tonight, as we speak, federal prosecutors are reportedly nearing a final decision on whether or not the former deputy FBI director, McCabe, will in fact be indicted over his egregious lying. Well, wait a minute. They went after Manafort for lying and Papadopoulos for lying and Cohn for lying and General Flynn for lying. Do we have equal justice under the law? And get this, his former colleague, fellow Trump hater Lisa Page, well, she may be the deciding factor. Here now to explain all of this breaking news is our very own Catherine Herridge in Washington tonight. Catherine, big breaking story.
That's right, Sean, and good evening. A source close to the matter tells Fox News that federal prosecutors appear close to a decision over whether to charge former FBI Deputy and Acting Director Andrew McCabe for lying to investigators. The New York Times first reported that McCabe's legal team met last week with the Deputy Attorney General and U.S. Attorney for D.C. The Justice Department declined to comment, but these meetings are often used by the defense as their last shot to argue against their client's indictment. McCabe, a frequent target of the president, was fired last year after the Justice Department's Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz found he lacked candor under oath over his role in a media leak about the FBI's Clinton Foundation investigation. 3 weeks ago, McCabe filed this 48-page lawsuit against the FBI and Justice Department for wrongful termination. And recently, McCabe joined, as you mentioned, CNN as a contributor. Earlier this year, he told the network the allegations are false, and he blamed the White House.
I think the president had an indelible impact on the IG's process. I know that the process that I went through was one that was unfair, was one that left out multiple pieces of relevant information, the testimony of witnesses who were never even referenced in the report.
Tonight, McCabe's legal team did not respond to Fox's request for comment when it comes to lying or lack of candor under oath. What matters here, according to former FBI agents, is that the Bureau is held to a higher standard because they are the ones, Sean, that enforce the law.
Well, Catherine, I'll tell you one thing that I think is unfair. Didn't McCabe tell Lieutenant General Flynn, a 33-year veteran, that he didn't need a lawyer just prior to Comey bragging about sending people in, that he would never do that in the Bush or the Obama administrations to take advantage of the chaos, knowing it was an interrogation? Wouldn't that be, to me, that sounds like Miranda right violations. That seems unfair if they knew it was investigation, but I don't want to drag you into the narrative, but that all happened, right?
It's all hopefully going to come up in the next few weeks.
Well, they did brag about it. They did say to General Flynn, you don't need a lawyer. And Comey did brag that he took advantage of the chaos, which he wouldn't do in the Obama or Bush administrations. Great reporting, as always, in Washington tonight, Catherine Herridge. Now, without a doubt, it was a big weekend for fake news CNN on top of the hiring of the former FBI director who was fired for lying and leaking. Well, we have Jeff Zucker's stenographer, professional Fox News hater, Brian Stelter, Humpty Dumpty, giving a platform to some pretty shocking accusations, letting it go unchallenged. Of course, this is all happening on his sparsely watched, low-rated weekend show, Humpty Dumpty, featuring a deranged armchair psychologist, supposedly from Duke, claiming Trump may be responsible for more deaths, get this, than Hitler, Stalin, and Mao. We'll have a lot more special monologue for Humpty later in the program. But naturally, Humpty Dumpty and fake news CNN also dutifully defended their big new hire. You know, the guy fired for lying and leaking, Andrew McCabe. And by the way, McCabe was fired from that job, as we said, under the super patriot Jim Comey. Now, McCabe might face criminal charges, as we're reporting tonight. But on Humpty Dumpty show, McCabe was hailed for his, quote, serious expertise. Watch.
Now, CNN hired Andrew McCabe, formerly of the FBI. He was fired from the FBI. He was accused of lying in a leak investigation. And people on the right said, well, you're hiring McCabe. Well, why can't Fox hire Spicer? Is there a difference? Why can't Fox hire Sanders? Is there a difference? Do you see a difference?
Of course there's a difference. Andrew McCabe is going to bring serious expertise with respect to the FBI and investigations. And he in no way was accused of standing in front of to the American people and lying to them. He was accused of a lack of candor and talking to the press. The proportion, the scale, and the substance are utterly not comparable.
The same fake news network that has been peddling lies, conspiracy theories, and the biggest hoax in American history every single minute, second, hour of every 24-hour day, week, month, and year. Just a prime example of why Stelter and his employer, by the way, the president has forever rightly branded them, fake news. CNN lacks any credibility. They pretend to be arbiters of truth and facts, but in reality, they're nothing more than the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party.